All right, so this is the boot heater that I've done. So this is the wire that goes behind inside of the boot through the sole. So I have to cut a little slit. I'll show you in another video how that comes through. But I'm using flat ribbon cable, so it's very, let me just focus here and focus. There you go. So it's very thin, and the reason for that is because it goes underneath your the inner sole, the insole of the boot, so you don't feel it. So I'm using these 3.8 volt nickel metal hydride batteries, so it gives out 4.8 volts. They're basically AA size, and have a little Velcro stuck onto the side, and I'll show you what that's used for later. Just like regular boot heaters, I cut a slit in the heel of the inner boot to run the wire out, the flat ribbon cable, and I just put some tape there to hold it in place. And I'll show you on the inside. Okay, so this is the heating pad. It's on the inside, so I just tuck taped it onto the inside. The tuck tape is good because it uses an acrylic adhesive, and it pretty much sticks to just about anything and doesn't really get affected by the heat, as opposed to like using a tape with a rubber-based adhesive. Next thing is, yeah, so I can run the cable. So I just did all the connections on the side. So that's the arch of your foot. So you're not going to feel the actual wires there. They're quite small. It's like 26 gauge, I think, wires. So you have to use heat shrink tubing to insulate anything because you don't want it to short out. So I just run that down on an angle from the arch of the inner insole to the back, so it comes out the back. Okay, so this is the Velcro strap that I use to wrap around the just above the just below the calf of my kids. So it's flexible. So I tried it with a stiff one, but these are elastic, so they stretch. Like I'm stretching it right now, very flexible. And they're nice and wide, so they're about, I don't know, 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches wide. So they work really well. I think I sent you guys the link for these. So they're pretty cheap and they work really well. So I'll show you, I'll put the camera down and show you how it works. Actually, I won't put the camera down. I'll just take another video of me putting it on, and I'll show you how the battery holds into it and why I put Velcro on the battery. Okay, so here's the Velcro strap. So it's nice and flexible, so it works really well. So what I do is I just put the battery, there's some Velcro on it, and since there's the loop part is on your calves, your skin, so it doesn't scratch. And I have the hook part on the battery, and just slide it in there and cover it up. And I usually put that in the back on the outside of the calf, actually, so they don't feel it. And that's it, and it stays there nice and snug, and it doesn't bother the kids. They've never complained about it, and it works pretty well. And then I have the battery lead here, and the boot lead I just put underneath here through there, and I connect it when they start having cold feet. Oh yeah, and then there's another detail I wanted. I use these mini Tamiya connectors. They're usually used for hobby RC stuff. They're very like robust, so they don't. I've tried different types of connectors on my prototypes, and these were the ones that held up the most. They actually have a positive lock in them, so you have to push on this to release it, so they don't come unplugged. You know, without you wanting it to come unplugged. Also, the wire I use here, the flat ribbon cable, is a 6 conductor. So basically, the reason why I put 6 conductor is so that when you plug in the battery, I've divided them in threes, so in 2 sets of threes for each, the positive and negative, so that because it's such a small gauge wire, I didn't want the actual wire to be heating up and not the heating pad. So I wanted to have the wire have the least amount of resistance, and that's why I put 3 conductors for the positive and 3 for the negative. yeah, that's it. So these have been working. So they're called the mini Tamiya connectors.